YouTube. Welcome back to K-Saw Media. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is Ian here along with Chris.
Hey.
Hey, we're going to be running down Bumblebee. Just got out of theaters, checking this one out. The latest entry we got to Transformers minus Michael Bay. I'll correct that, minus Bay direction.
Yeah. Well, that's bad because you can still see some Michael Bay stuff in this.
You can.
But so Bumblebee.
Yeah, man. You know, I gotta ask. Coming into this, were you hopeful? Or not?
Well, so we talked about this. All right. I mean, on our weekly podcast, the Jagged Edge. Check it out. I was more hopeful. We weren't even going to review this. We had kind of taken a stance of no Transformer games or Transformer movies. And that being said, I'm a huge Transformers fan. That's actually part of the reason why. Is because these movies are horrible. This is the best out of the six by far.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's good enough and it's different enough to make you want to reflect on the other ones and kind of puts them all in a worse light.
Right.
But comparing the other five to each other, 1 and 3 stand out, but they're all below this one. This is. Well, first, this is an actual movie, as far as it having a plot and cohesive, and it's not just excuses for explosions and destruction and telling you how you can get away with dating underage girls and real thing in the fourth one. No, it's good, but it's not every. You would hear so much, especially when they start coming out with the trailers and the ads showing them on Cybertron and showing Optimus Prime and Soundwave and other Transformers as they're looking much more closer to their G1 original forms. You would hear a lot of people saying, "This is the one. This is what we've been waiting." You know what? No, not really. Kinda. But no, it's still not there. It's still not there. It was okay, but honestly, and while it was refreshing to see a more G1 appropriate stance taken on these characters, especially considering this is a period piece taking place in the 70s.
80s.
I'm sorry, you're right. 80s. I meant the 80s. Okay. It's still not there.
Right.
It's much closer. It is a giant step in the right direction, and I do believe, from what we saw from this movie, that this is not going to be the last one we're going to get. Even though it was supposed to be. This was supposed to be the last one. Like early on in production for this, Hasbro had taken the stance of we're done with the Babers.
Right.
And but I think this very much plays like a soft reboot than anything.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see more, at least one more. But it's okay.
I think all in all, it's okay. I think you've given us a really good spectrum of coverage there. I think ranging from
there's a lot to unpack with everything I just
the rest
said.
of it. We're gonna dive into spoilers for this. Heads up. So look, if you just want to skip those, if you're just gonna wait and see this yourself, you've been warned because we're gonna go there.
Jump back. And just let me say real quick, we do have a quick recap review from everything you're going to hear here. It's you can check that one out. That'll be spoiler free. But this is we're digging into it.
There you go.
We are transforming from vehicle mode to robot form in this. Is that a good analogy?
I think so. I was going to say something like we're not in disguise anymore, but that's even better. So.
That's we're transforming. We're digging into it here. Let me start first by talking a little bit about the cast. Okay, I mean you have Peter Cullen doing Optimus Prime, which he does for everything now. I mean, if he, the original voice for Optimus Prime. Actually, I don't think he's doing it for the Cyberverse cartoon going on right now. But pretty much, if you want to give Peter Cullen a paycheck to do the voice of Optimus Prime, he'll do it now.
Oh yeah,
which is fine. So I mean, he's always great. It's always great to just hear his voice. A lot of the voices for other Transformers, which we don't hear very much at all, they're fine.
Yeah.
You do actually get to hear Bumblebee talk a bit in this, which is interesting. They actually do give you a reason for why he doesn't talk.
Right.
Although, ironically, at the end of the first Transformers movie from Michael Bay, he does talk again and added a completely different voice with an accent. But we'll get into continuity errors soon. I mean, not that that's all that surprising, because there were continuity errors between Michael Bay's own films, let alone this prequel. So, but let me say this: Haley Steinfeld,
Yep.
who played Charlie,
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I think she nailed it.
Yeah, she did a really good job. They did a really the best part about this movie is not even so much a Transformer part, although it doesn't work if it's not a Transformer, is the story between Charlie and Bumblebee.
Definitely.
And they don't always tell this story the best way in the film, but at the end of the films, like, that was a good film about two people who are out of their element, dealing with a whole lot of things that they're probably not suited to deal with, but at the end of the day, they do a good job of navigating it, sometimes apart, sometimes together, and getting through it.
Yeah.
There's really good growth between both characters.
Yeah, Charlie herself, I think, is presented really well here. So there's a lot of things she deals with, from the not just the awkwardness of discovering B, but all the things she's trying to juggle in her life. The whole boy next door, her sort of losing faith in herself. It's all, which is, I don't think I can divorce these two together, linked to the loss of her father. And just having all these elements, and then running into being like Bumblebee, this idea of two really broken characters who lost a lot, sort of fumbling their way through this to end up making a full journey. I think that's delivered genuinely here.
Yeah. No, I want to go on the other side of the spectrum, because you know who is absolutely horrible?
Oh,
John Cena. Oh my God. And that's not all his fault either. I've seen him act in a couple things, and he does okay.
Yeah.
He's got his ups and downs for sure, but cringeworthy almost every moment with him.
You didn't like the one-liners.
What was so bad about no, they were horrible. But it wasn't just his delivery of them; it was also how they were written and how those moments were directed. But
right.
Not even that. Just, I'll get in. Maybe I'll get into this a little bit more later. I don't know if it even deserves to be said more than what I'm about to say. The score for this film was crap.
Yeah.
It is by far the worst sounding Transformers movie we've had, and I will give Michael Bay credit for that, is that he does understand the importance of sounds, and they do try to duplicate a lot of that from what they showed him and what he showed in the previous films. But the score, especially like the cheesy score that they would have every time you saw John Cena,
yeah,
and it was oh my God,
it wasn't, the soundtrack overall wasn't a standout for me, but that specific part of it kind of came across as like a WWE miniature intro.
It was so bad. It was so bad. And and again, he can be a decent actor, but they did him no justice here. This did not help his movie career or acting career at all.
There was one of the one-liners that stood out to me. I remember the one where he was in the defense meeting room, and they were talking about the weighing the threat of Decepticons and stuff, and he just kind of pipes up like, "They are literally Decepticons." Like,
yeah,
do I have to explain this to you?
I at least appreciate that they had mentioned that.
Right.
So, yeah, your name is Decepticons. Sounds a little shady.
Just stuff like that. I think that helped. If there's one redeeming thing about that, I think that did attribute to the kind of Saturday morning vibe with some of this. With the more lighthearted, I think more directed narrative front, making things a little easier to follow. There's a lot that feels E.T. like about this, with the whole 80s vibe.
It's not, you're not the first person to say that. I've heard that as well. There's a lot of reflections to E.T. on this, and notably so. I mean, it's a very similar story.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. That being said, now you touched on something, the corniness of the film. See, here's where I think there's a big disconnect within the film itself. I mean, you have people who are very realistically, I mean, this is a PG-13 movie.
Right.
You have people who are very realistically, as far as CGI and stuff, being obliterated and turned to goo, which every time it happened was a little shocking to me, considering this is a much lighter film.
Right.
Definitely one of the areas where you just know when you see them, where there was an explosion, Michael Bay was like, make it bigger. Make it bigger. Make it louder. And I mean, these things actually didn't work in this film, I don't think.
Right.
This is a different story. This is not gotta save the world, Autobots, Decepticons. This is, I mean, those elements are there, but this is not. That's not the story.
Right. Right.
And they felt really out of place. That also being said, the action scenes in this were great and some of the best, I think, from any of the movies.
No, solid. Real well paced. I'm thinking all the way back to some of the Cybertron stuff we see with the whole G1 aesthetic to it. That of course a lot of people got excited about when they saw in the trailers. It's not just that. When I think about the action here, I really took a look at the choreography. You got there's some pretty good play just with what's happening in the screen, geography wise. You got wide shots. The action isn't hard to follow, and I think that's because of some basic stuff here. I look at Bumblebee, you got a pretty basic like yellow silhouette.
It's because it's not Michael Bay.
Yeah, essentially, and that I appreciated that flow. You don't have any shaky camera weirdness. No, it flows well.
Let me say a couple things though on the action though,
Mm-hmm.
and I had already said something to you about one of these earlier. Okay, first there's the actions. There's the fight scene. I can't remember which. I think this is not. Of the Decepticons, you have Blitzwing, and I'll get to that in a moment, and you have Dropkick, and a Dropkick is a more obscure Decepticon who I don't think was even a triple changer. And then you have the new one, the red one.
The Shatter? No.
Yeah, the female
Shatter,
Decepticon.
that was
she's
Angela
new.
Bassett?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't get that far to see who had done the voice for her. She's new, but the fight between Bumblebee and Dropkick, when Bumblebee gets the chain in him and he gets all entangled in him.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. The reality of that situation is that transformation is just snapping that chain left and right. It is not going to be all entangled in him, and he's not going to be able to pull him apart by yanking on that chain. That was ridiculous. That was absolutely ridiculous. And while I do appreciate the fact that they do show some vulnerability for the Transformers, they should not have much at all. I mean, these are giant metal machines that can change from, like vehicle modes that even the VW Bug could hit and kill a person.
Yep.
All right. Not to mention the air, the warplanes and the tank, which we didn't even get to see, and I'll get to that in a second. And everything. I mean, these they made it feel way too vulnerable. I'm sorry, but you are not going to be able to pull apart a Decepticon, any Transformer, by yanking a chain.
No.
That's dumb. That's really dumb. Now let me get to the other thing. Okay. So the fight between Bumblebee and Blitzwing at the beginning was a cool fight, but I mean, Blitzwing is notably your biggest name in there that has any certain amount of screen time besides Bumblebee.
Right.
He's one of the first triple changers, like actual triple changers, from the old days, and he just gets destroyed. You don't even get to see his tank form. He's got a tank form. A tank form. He's a tank. Let that sink in for a second. Because his other ultimate form is a tank. Okay? And I appreciate I didn't mind the fight so much as far as how they did it, because Bumblebee's got to get messed up somehow, right? He gets to Earth and he's not screwed up yet. So he's get and there it is. You got freaking Blitzwing. I mean, okay, so I mean that just kind of bothers me just on face value because they're still not getting it. You already made up one new triple changer for this film. Why couldn't you just make up another for him to beat up at the beginning? Why Blitzwing? Why waste Blitzwing?
Yeah,
like that. But that doesn't bother me as much as Cliff Jumper. That's still irking me. That's still bugging me.
This is why I want to hear from you about this one so bad because I know you've got bones with these.
That is I mean, when you talk about G1 and OG Transformers, I mean, that is one of the original OG Transformers. Very similar to Bumblebee himself, as far as, he used to be one of the little cars. One of the first little cars that you could get. You had Bumblebee and you had Cliff Jumpers, and yes, there were some obscure other ones, but those, depending on what canon you want to believe in. But, I mean, they just... how, I mean, not to mention from the G1 cartoon, he had one of the most recognizable voices, which is up there with the guy who voiced Starscream.
Right, right.
And to just kill him like that, I mean, it's Cliff Jumper. In it's not like he went out in a blaze of glory or anything. It's like boom, cut in half. I mean, you could have done that with, again, another made up Transformer, or you could have pulled something from the Year 3 line. There's hundreds of Transformers that you could have picked from. Why did you just, again, waste Cliff Jumper? I mean, because it wouldn't have mattered. I mean, the importance of that scene is to show how powerful these triple changers are,
Right.
which is kind of dumb because there's an argument to be made that any Transformers kind of seems like they can kill another Transformer at any time. And let me refer back to you about getting a chain stuck in one of them and how you're just able to pull apart a Transformer with that. But yeah, I mean, if they're actually going to use this as a launching pad at this point, as a soft reboot for the Transformer franchise, which it looks like they're heading in that direction.
Yeah.
To just waste Blitzwing and Cliffjumper like that is absolutely ridiculous.
Well, that's the other thing I was going to say. It really depends how far they're going with this. I personally think there seems to be a little bit of disjointedness, some confusion exactly where all of this is heading. Now, like you said, this can easily function as the soft reboot, ironically done with the prequels. And I'm kind of chuckling. It's like, man, if we had this up front with the first movie, but that's neither here nor there. There's another thing that I think feeds into that we haven't seen the last of this, and be aware of the characters that are used. There was if I recall, at the start of the film, there's this Hasbro sort of umbrella group. It's killing me now. Allspark Entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the banner, and you have the Hasbro thing under it. So that makes me look at this and say, all right. I mean, are there going to be more Transformers films rolled out under that? I mean, heck, that was, I don't know.
Yeah, they've been wanting to start their own cinematic universe for a while, not just with Transformers, but also with G.I. Joe,
Right,
and Mask, and I think a couple others, and they're all going to be in the same world. And if it's all 80s period piece stuff, fantastic. I mean, that's where it works the most too, which I'll get into the 80s aesthetics a little bit later in this too. But here's the biggest thing. So the Decepticons are working with the American government, not just with the American government. They're working for Section 7, which is a made up group of the government that Michael Bay made up for his movies. I mean, I don't even think you need to be a big Transformer fan. I'm certainly not a big Bayverse fan, but doesn't Section 7 have Megatron captive right now at this point of the storyline?
I remembered right.
That's right.
Yeah.
But they don't say a word about it. That being said, the movie doesn't say anything about Megatron one way or the other. But you would think, considering they're basically creating the internet right there.
Right
there, and they have access to all of the knowledge in Section 7, that they would see, oh, they got Megatron. All right, we have a new mission. Let's just start wasting everybody and free our leader. I mean, wouldn't you think that would be how the direction of the movie? So I can only come to the conclusion that that's where I'm saying that this is a soft reboot.
Right.
Because, I mean, that is the most obvious thing. I mean, didn't you think of that too when you're watching this?
Yeah, I mean, it honestly didn't hit me like right immediately smack dab. But then when they had the whole internet thing, I started saying, oh, wait. Now we do have some parallels here.
Right. Right. I can only come to the conclusion, either they just decided to create like the biggest plot hole ever for any of these movies, or this is a soft reboot and they don't actually have Megatron.
Right.
That's the only way I can square that circle. So I decided to say, okay, they can't have Megatron. Otherwise, Dropkick and Shatter would know, and the movie takes a hard left at that point, and it becomes Bumblebee trying to save the government while Dropkick and Shatter just kill everybody.
Yeah. Oh man. So,
and then they release Megatron, and then you get a whole nother thing you're dealing with.
Yeah, that's a whole other story.
So I mean that's the I mean I don't know, but for me that's the only way I could square that circle.
Sure,
Is
sure.
that this is a soft reboot. Maybe they reshot some scenes. Maybe maybe they entered this in there because you don't necessarily ever need the Decepticons to interact with the government. They could have
No.
came around with other ways to get to the conclusion of getting to the tower and all that stuff. Maybe they did that intentionally, try to say, hey, look, we're basing this kind of off the Bayverse, but we're going in our own new direction.
Right.
And if that's the case, I'm cool with it, except for R.I.P. Blitzwing and Cliffjumper. I'm good with it. Besides that, though, I'm okay with it. If that's what they want to do, I'm good with it.
So you're good with the basic formula, but do you think that this has been all found for Transformers too late? I mean, how much?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because what I really want is what I heard that they were doing was in all CGI Transformers.
Yeah.
That was going to be based in Cybertron. That's I want that.
Right. Right.
So I don't know, man. I mean, this thing still has a lot of the misses that some of the Bayverse Transformer movies have. So, you got the aesthetics down.
Yep.
But you're still not quite grasping, how Transformers interact and stuff.
Sure. So, still some stuff missing. I think with especially the whole Spielberg-like approach to storytelling, and
which is ironic because he's also an executive producer here.
It is.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that's just name only. I don't think he even looked at this thing. So
no, I agree. It's just you have some hallmarks of that. So no, all those elements work, but there's still grounds to go. And I almost wonder, just thinking about all this long term, are they how much breathing room do they have to expand, and how boxed are they? So
I think they put just enough in here so that if it does really well and it gets really well received, they can move forward if they want to. At the same time, I don't really think that was the intention. I think the intention was, look, these the amount of money these movies have been bringing in has been dropping since like the third movie,
right?
And people are really getting kind of tired of it. And Michael Bay doesn't want to make them anymore. And we're not selling the toys like we hoped we would, and maybe they're going to go talk to Lucasfilm about how they can make that happen. Because the two, put your heads together or something, because neither of you are selling toys like you want. Especially at least from the effects of the films having an effect on sales. It's just not happening the way they want it to. There's a greater conversation to be had for that, but I don't know. I mean, like I said, the decision to kill the Bayverse was decided when this thing was in early production. I was a little surprised going forward that they decided to keep going with it. And that, if anything, gave me the hope that it's like, maybe there's actually something here, because if this was direct like the rest of them, they would probably have killed this movie.
Yeah.
But they decided to keep going with it. So that being said, let's talk about what a lot of people were really excited about, and that was the beginning part of the film when they're on Cybertron and you get the G1, for the most part the G1 Transformers. That was pretty cool. But I'm sorry, I mean, that was such a Pander Bear move that, I mean, it was neat, but I'm like, I'm not going to pet that Pander Bear. Yeah. I mean, that's cool.
Yeah.
Now, like you said, I think that was a bit too late. That was about 11 years too late.
Right.
But all right, that's cool. And if they were to, I think for me, I can't get excited about that because I've previously seen 5 really shitty movies. So it's like, okay, that's neat, but I can't get excited for that. Because I'm still not sold that we're going to get anything more than the 2-3 minutes of what we got.
Right.
But it was kind of cool to see that brought to life. The most exciting part to me, actually, and I felt a little off about it because no one else in the theater at least appeared to react the way I did, and that was when they're on the top of that cliff.
Oh yeah.
And Bumblebee turns on "You Got the Touch" for Charlie.
Yeah.
Yes, the classic. I mean, that's the Transformer song next to the theme.
Right.
And no one reacted. I'm like, oh my god, am I that old? Are we that far removed now? that no one in the theater is going to react except for me to, we got the touch. Oh,
Ugh,
I felt so
that's
old.
downer. Downer.
But did you react to it?
No,
Did you get it?
I had the like an ear to ear smile, and I was like nodding, and like no, but uh, my theater was the same, dude. So don't feel too bad. I didn't jump.
Okay, but at least I wasn't the only one.
No, you weren't the only one that noticed it. I mean, again, I know this. Especially I know that moment had a much bigger impact for you. 'Cause, dude, I was all over the place with Transformers as far as watching the show coming up. I mean, I knew that much about it, but I was way more into the Merc side of it. You know,
Yeah,
that's
no, my brother and I, in our friends, we were all, I mean, we were right there. We were
wow.
in the whole 80s, just in just the Transformers. I mean, we were
See,
there. B1 at the beginning. We were the right
wow.
age, and it was, I mean, it was everything. I mean, there was all other things too for kids, but it was, I mean, Transformers was the
That
cream of the crop,
that would have
to
helped.
quote Macho Man.
That would have helped. Cream always rises to the top. Uh,
Oh yeah.
yeah. That would have helped if I had more people around me. I think really into it. You know, Transformers was something that helped bring me into loving Giant Max. I will always thank it for that. You know,
See, that's
it's
funny because Transformers are what keeps me from just accepting generic giant mechs. There's a standard,
yeah. There's a
and Transformers created it for me.
love it, love it. So
No, yeah, I mean, dude, there's something to be said for studies being done on kids who grew up in the 80s and the commercialism that was that we were just brainwashed with. I mean, there's an effect, and if you look at it from a far enough perspective, while at the same time understanding it, there was definitely an effect to us 80s kids
yeah.
and what we were dosed with, and the effect that it has had on media, and the effect it's had on marketing, and the effect it's had on nostalgia. It's different. It's different for 70s kids. It's different for 90s kids.
It is.
It's something with, those of us who grew up in the 80s and the commercial, just the unbridled commercialism of the time. And I mean, I say it kind of like it's a bad thing because it's kind of like a bad thing, but at the same time, I'm completely endearing to it as well.
Right.
So
I agree.
I accept the good and the bad of it. And that's a huge topic because here we are. Here it is.
Yeah.
Almost, I mean, we're 35 years later. And it's still everywhere, and it's not even just Transformers. But anyways, I'm kind of getting off the point a little. Yeah, the beginning was fine. It's fine. I mean, quite honestly, this is not a very well put together movie. The pacing's off. The score is bad. The actual like 80s songs that they pick are very hit or miss. There's some that were great, and then there's others like, yeah, that doesn't really work here. The acting. Again, the actress who played Charlie was great.
Yeah.
Peter Cullen's Peter Cullen. I mean, he could probably do Optimus Prime in his sleep. They'll find a way for him to do Optimus Prime after he's dead.
Yeah, they
So, which is unfortunately, I mean, the guy, he's getting up there like most of our 80 icons.
He is.
But for the most part, the acting was very blah. The script was blah. The directing was okay. It's fine. And if they make another one, I think they're walking a very fine line.
Yeah.
They got to be real careful because I mean, if they screw it up, then I think they could do some serious damage to the franchise at that point.
Easily.
But if they do something great, then maybe they got something in their hands. But this wasn't great. This was fine. At the end of the day, my favorite part of this movie had less to do with the Transformers and had more to do with the fact that they managed to squeak out a good story.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what I'm going to give it points on as well. I was always I was going between a couple ratings. I was watching this, and I think I squared that circle and became settled on a nice solid number. So.
All right, are we ready to rate this? Is there anything else we want to talk about with it?
No, man. I think that's about all I got. I'm ready to rock that road.
What are we rating this as? 1 out of 10 robots in disguise?
I think so.
Okay.
I am landing this. This is a solid 7 for me.
Okay, 7 for you too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was dancing between 6.5 and 7.5, so I think at the end of the day I decided to give it a solid 7. This is a solid C.
Yeah.
It's a solid 7. Um,
And
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, sorry, no, and even though it's so great too, even though I haven't been as vested in the Transformers early universe overall, one thing that just really earned a lot of points in my book was that okay, they carved out. I'm really giving some credit here. They carved out some good paths post all the other movies, and it's funny it was done from a prequel. I like the way that at least the story flowed, the layout. Really appreciated the way the action worked. I said that's the core of a lot of Transformers movies. So on the notes, I think a lot of the notes it needed to hit, you have that there, and it works. It works. So
Yeah. There was an after credit scene. It is worth watching. It's actually kind of weird because like they go to the credits, they show the name of the director, and then they go to the after credit scene. It's like the fastest after credit scene ever.
Yeah. It's like credit. No, just kidding.
One guy got up out of his chair and then immediately turned around. Oh, there's more. He's like, that's right, Grandpa.
Sit down.
Any of these pop culture movies tend to have after credit scenes now. Okay, so yeah, if you're gonna make another, be careful. But I honestly, look, you came out of this one with a good movie. You got the best out of the 6. You came out unscathed for the most part. Let this go.
Yeah.
Let it go. All right. You got another toy line out of this, which will sell some toys, not a lot, but some. Let it go. Start again. People want to see Cybertron. They want to see they look as awesome as Optimus Prime is as a giant truck that transforms into a robot. We've seen it.
Right.
10,000 different ways now. Show us Optimus Prime in his Cybertron truck, and just give us Cybertron for a couple movies. Everybody wants that now.
There's a lot to be told there. It's one thing I think
there's a lot to be told there, especially they got 2 great games out of that with
they did.
The ones that came out in the past gen, War for Cybertron and
yeah, you were showing me that.
What was the other one? Fall of Cybertron. Those are great games. Should they mimic those? Probably not. Make your own thing, but if they did, they'd have some good movies on their hands. That really showed you that there's a lot that you can do with that little bit.
It's one thing just to reference that stuff or just give us a short, namesake appearance for it, but I think another to really fill that out, especially when you have all that material waiting. So
well, in those moments that we had on Cybertron in this movie, kind of show you like this is that is definitely the coolest part of the film
for sure.
And there's something there. And if you want to make it completely like live action in appearance, that's fine, but just throw it all on Cybertron.
Right.
Just make an animated movie and make it to the point where if you want to mesh these in with people at some point, you can. But just the way that Transformers die in this whole Bayverse is ridiculous, and there's hardly any left at this point. So yeah, just start over.
The reset.
Guys, let us know what you think. For you Transformers fans, where do you fall on all this? What do you think of what they did to Blitzwing and the Cliff Jumper? And was that appropriate or not? And what do you think they're going to do? Was this a soft reboot or was this a pure, true prequel? Can you explain why Decepticons are in Section 7 and don't free Megatron? I can't think of one other than he's not there. So. How do you get around that? Maybe there was some tie-in comic or something that explains this. I don't know. Comment below. Let us know what you thought of it. Give us your rating. If you liked what you heard, if you can give us a like and subscribe, that'd be great.
Every single one helps us with our content, helps us keep building this channel and delivering more of what we want to show you guys and build for you. But that is going to do it for us here for this review. So thank you again for listening. We'll catch you guys again soon. Take it easy. Have a good one. Hey people, thank you for tuning into this episode and taking a listen. If you like our content, if you like what you're listening to, is there anything to go over, hey please, we would not only love to hear more from you, but it's great if you could throw some support. You can subscribe right below. Also, you can toss us a line anytime. That's ksongmedia@gmail.com. Of course, you can tune in for our channel anytime for movie reviews, game reviews, a lot of random wacky stuff. Who knows what you'll hear. And of course, our episode each week where we're bringing the nerdiest things we can find, dig up, and maybe not find. Maybe the stuff that just drops in our laps. But anyway, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We hope to hear from you again later. Take care.